Hello, today we're speaking with Cosmo Pepe, co-founder of Soonapse. Welcome to the podcast, Cosmo.
Hi, I'm okay. Good evening to everybody.
Great. To start with, could you tell us a little bit about Soonapse?
Soonapse is an Italian startup that was founded in late in year 2015 and in Rome, to be precise, from the geography point of view. And started around a group of friends, of old friends that everybody with other founder experience to do something different for the market. So we decided to join, to invent something that's really old in the IT environment. So a DSS, a decision support system. We had a different point of view to realize the DSS. That's the core of Soonapse. We used what was available on the technological market, technological arena. So the IoT, bus, artificial intelligence, machine learning. And the approach was really, let's say, funny. We were talking about the story, trying to imagine the path, and we landed using some kind of different approach. Normally speaking, a normal DSS says you have a question and DSS give you an answer. That's the main task of a DSS, a decision support system. We were imagining to develop, to think about something that was like, a chess game. A chess game, you have two players, you have rules, you have what's going on around, and each player is not thinking what's going on now, the next move. The chess player, the good chess player, is trying to think, to imagine what can happen in 5 or 6 moves later. So we decided to study and to reach this objective, and we landed on it. We have realized the DSS that works on the strategy. So it doesn't give an answer for what to do now or to do in 5 minutes. The answer of our DSS is a strategic behavior for the next 4 days, 5 days, 3 days, and that's it. That's the idea.
And how do you set that up in terms of what the goal is? How do you make sure that the DSS results in the type of decisions that are most relevant to your own goals?
Yes, that was the second point we were facing out. So the best way we found was to face with some use cases, and so it started to think about the agtech arena. Because in the AG, in the agriculture, there are a lot of things that needs to work in terms of strategy. And there is also one more point, that most of the resources that are used in agriculture are limited resources. So that's the other point. It's a key point. Our DSS, it works perfectly when you use it in predictive optimization of scarce resources in time. So thinking about the possible use case, the first that's very important because the problem is big and very, very useful was to think about the irrigation. So we started to study and to think about irrigation behavior, speaking with agronomists and people expert in the domain of the irrigation and the agriculture. And we found that was a perfect court to play our match. And so after a couple of years, Pluvium was delivered to the market. Pluvium is an irrigation control system that allows the farmer to think in terms of behavior, on predictions. So Pluvium doesn't give an answer saying you need to give water to your crop tomorrow. Pluvium works on a 5 days horizon, and each hour Pluvium provides the forecast on how the soil will behave in the next 5 days. So with the IoT channel, we read data from the soil each hour. The machine learning and the artificial intelligence does the work, and it produces a forecast for the next 5 days on how the soil will behave in terms of water requirements and the water requirements for the plant. So each soil, each installation is different from the other because the soil is different, the crop is different, the geography is different. So what we produce is some kind of ID card of the soil plus crop, and that's very specific, even if the system is always the same, because the sensors are very, very easy sensors, very cheap sensors, and the software is always the same. The only thing that's going to change is the crop. That's because we have defined in our solution most of the most popular cultivation in the agriculture.
And so does your system include all the sensors? It includes inputs and ability to connect to other data sources? Or is it just a software platform? Or is it more focused as a software platform sitting on top of all the other data sets?
But that was probably the only key point we had clear in our mind when we decided to do this game, to stay away from the hardware market. So everybody in the team has a software background. So we developed the software using all the things that can be used today. So CDCI and microsystems, API. So the software is totally independent from any kind of hardware we are going to use. When we go to the market, we use sensors made by producers that we have partnered with. So at the bottom of the story, we are totally independent from the type of the sensors we use. Many times we found already sensors in the field. The most common situation is that we reach a farmer and he has already meteo station, because we also use a meteo station in our configuration. And we use to pick the data from the existing meteo station. It's very easy.
Interesting. And so how does your system make sense of all these different data types? Is that part of the core technology, the ability to absorb and transform contradictory or different data into insights?
So we use a standard sets of API. All the data that are seen by the sensors or by the meteo station, let's say all the data coming from the IoT channel, are directly sent to our application, and then our application takes care of it. We have software that are able to crunch the data and to make it available to our software. It was the major effort was done to maintain our totally hardware independence. I mean, it's not always a piece of cake, so we had to work around it. But at the end of the story, we can claim that we are totally independent from the hardware. And from the communication protocol, we have installation that are using LoRa. We have installation that are using Sigfox. Now we are using installation with the NB-IoT, and also we have installation using GSM connection. We can support virtually any kind of connection available, because we are just going on top of it.
And in terms of the benefits to the farmers, when your system is deployed, how much is the farmer saving in water usage and other inputs?
The water is the... Let me go with some figures that's can be annoying, but it's important. 70% of the available water is used in the agriculture. 70%. And this figure grows up to 90% for developing country. So we know that water is a limited, very limited resources in our world. And we have tested, our customers are very happy and says that they can save up to 50% of the total irrigation cost. Because irrigation cost is not only water. Just to give you an idea, the water cost for in the Italian market, it's about 750 euros per hectare. That's in the Italian cost. goes up in Western countries, it's down in developing countries. But the irrigation is not only impact for the cost of the water, but for all the stuff involved in irrigation. And that's very important. Many farmers are using pipes that are moved from one side to another using power, using tractors. So they have moved from one side to the other. Then there are the irrigation pivots that are using AC power. So the irrigation cost is made by water, man work, and other kind of power. And we deal with up to 50% of saving.
That's amazing. And where are you in terms of the stage of the company? How many users? What is the kind of standard use case in terms of crops? And I suppose where are those? Are most of your users located in Italy, or has it kind of gone further than that?
Nice question, of course. This was the second point we had very clear in our mind. To build something for farmers, the first need was to be as cheap as possible. So our software subscription, it's very cheap. Our payoff we say the payoff is the irrigation at cost of one coffee a day. And that's overestimated. We say one
Sure.
coffee in Milan rather than in Rome, because Milan is it's a bit higher in price than Rome. Our customers are now mainly in Italy. So the real target market for Pluvium is what is a literature name. It's what is called family farmers. So farmers that have less than 10 hectares. But to reach them, we had to build some kind of traction. So we start deal with big farms. So we now have customers that are in the higher sector of the agricultural market. For example, I can tell you we have one of the most important Italian winemaker. That's Arnaldo Caprai. It's a very famous. He sells 80% of his production abroad. Top-notch winemaker. We have Gen Agricola, is the largest Italian farm. We have Novamont, that's a chemical company, because maybe it's important to say that many chemicals companies use vegetables to produce their chemicals. Our customers are all in Italy. We are in the phase of early stage. We are running now an acceleration program with an Italian incubator, and at the end of the acceleration, we will get some fund, and we are ready to go with the industrialization to reach the family farmers. That's the marketing. That's the marketing to reach such a big market. It will be the most, let's say, challenging for next months.
Understood. And thinking about a system like this, there's obviously a lot of strong technology behind the scenes. Can any grower or farmer use your solution, or does it take specialized knowledge to use it and deploy it?
The implementation, the start from zero, it's very easy. The most complicated things to do is to put the sensors in the soil. We use 2 sensors for each what is defined agricultural zone. So our sensors are not related to the dimension of the field, of the soil. We spoke about agricultural soil. If the soil is homogeneous, if it doesn't go up and down, so it's homogeneous, it's plain. We can use 2 sensors for 10 hectares terrain. That doesn't matter. And that's the most difficult things to do, to put the sensors, one at 20 centimeters and the other at 70 centimeters, depending on the kind of the crop. But that's the average deep which the sensors are to be put. And then the application asked the farmer to define the crop using the GPS location of the mobile phones, because the application, of course, runs even on mobiles, and what kind of crop is on, and that's it. Then the farmer says start, and the system starts to learn. because we use machine learning, and we recommend to the farmers to do for the next 15 days, 15 days, to do as usual. So in these 15 days, our software learns the behavior of the soil and starts to predict with the precision of more than 99%. That's our level of accuracy in the prediction. And we can test it every hour because, as I told you before, we read the data coming from the soil every hour. So every hour we can check if our prediction is correct. If it's over 90%, we say it's okay, go over using this way. If the prediction is false because is below the level we have set as the minimum acceptable, the software uses its algorithm to correct the mistakes and to produce newest prediction. Just to give you an idea, this is a very unique way to approach the precision agriculture. Our methods, the European Patent Office say that we have 11 original ideas, and so we are running for the patent. We have just to set up some kind of bureaucracy, but we are ready to get 11 patent for our method and our artificial intelligence algorithm behind Pluvium.
That's amazing. And I guess that helps with when you're competing against other startups or even large companies who are also, I'm sure there are some companies also exploring this space.
Yes, of course. The agtech arena it's very crowded, and you have a lot of companies that are doing amazing job, amazing works, and so there is a lot of competition. But yeah, we are quite unique in the arena, and I think we can play our game.
Fantastic. And so you mentioned the kind of short-term goals are to start kind of building up some marketing. What are your longer-term goals for the company over the next 2 or 3 years?
Our target talk that we want to cover, we want to reach, let's say, something close to 1% of the family farmers with our product. And this will bring us, I cannot give you more precise numbers because something is in the business plan, and the accelerator would be not happy if I say in
Sure.
figures. But the figures coming out are quite interesting, and so we will do as much as we can to reach the goals. We had in the past months some kind of satisfaction because, for example, we have been invited to the World Agritech Forum in London last year, and we have been the only Italian startup invited at this event. In the story of the event, not in the last 3 years or in the last 4 years or in the last year, in the story of the event, it's never happened that an Italian startup was invited in the London Agitech Forum. And we had this satisfaction. So I think that we had a lot of, let's say, you know what, when you have a movie or on the market, you have the critics and you have the public. Up to now, we had a lot of critics' success. Now we are starting to think about to get some kind of success with the public. So to reach the best way to reach the customer, to partner with some kind of big agitech companies, maybe companies that are producing irrigation system, because we can our small piece of software that we sell at €300 per year per agricultural zone, so a cost of less than one coffee per day. It could be a very nice plus for a big player of pipe solution.
Interesting. And thinking about ag tech kind of more generally, outside of what you're working on, what are the areas of ag tech that you're most excited by? Like, what are the new areas of technology that are most interesting to you?
Let's say that there are a lot of things that are doing using satellite images. That's very interesting. There are also a couple of companies that sell irrigation suggestion based on images from satellite. That's a very nice technology. It's a different approach to the irrigation. And also the satellite images can also be used for to see how the crop is going using algorithms that are reading the color of the vegetables, and other things are done using for the, let's say, the not the agriculture, but also for the nutrients for crops. This is something that we are thinking about, and we have also started to do something on this side. We think that in the near future we can add a very interesting feature to Pluvium, is to read reading data coming from the soil. We can also tell the farmers which kind of nutrients needs the soil. This will be Pluvium release, I don't know if 1.2 or 3, because we are also working together with the University of Berlin in Germany around the salinity problem, because when you are using water coming from the soil for irrigation, the more you use the water, the more the rain get salted, especially for the desertic areas, Northern Africa. This is a very key point, and we are studying together with the University of Berlin on this matter.
That's very interesting. And thinking about, let's say, the core importance of water, there was an announcement earlier this month that Wall Street is about to start trading water futures for the very first time. What are your thoughts on that, and like the core importance and view of water as a scarce resource?
The problem of water, everybody is conscious about pollution phenomena and about the warming and things related with this. But water, the water comes directly from the pipe, and nobody is thinking that sometime I hope in a very far future we can open the tap and to see nothing coming. That's the key point.
Sure.
That's the key point. It's a culture problem. Nobody knows about water, and it's very tough to go back and to study that many wars happened because of the water scarcity. But I think that something is going to change, even because the water scarcity normally. The normal behavior of the people is that, water scarcity is a problem for the African countries or for the desertic Asian countries. No, water scarcity is a problem. Is a problem that afflicts even Europe, and it's a very heavy water scarcity in the U.S. For example, the California area, it has a problem. The New Mexico area has a problem. The Colorado has a problem with the water scarcity. So I think that soon people will touch with their hands that the water is the most important resources available for everybody, and should be right for everybody to have water for their use.
Yeah, I've actually lived in countries where you couldn't drink the water in the tap, and you would have to wait for somebody to be driving by, shouting about water, and then you would go to your window, you would look out the window, shout to them, and then they would bring a barrel of water up your stairs, and that's how you got water. And so, you know, comparing that to having clean, fresh water that feels, to your point, like it's never ending, coming out of the faucet, out of the tap, it makes it very easy to forget the importance and the core value of these things we take for granted.
Yeah, that's clear. That's clear. And I mean, in Italy, we have water scarcity every summer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
And thinking about, you mentioned you're in this accelerator. How do you think about the tech scene in Italy? It's probably not the top of people's minds, but the technology scene and the startup scene in Italy. I suppose, what is your views on how that's going? And are there things that Italy as a whole can be doing to encourage more technology startups?
Well, Italy, from this point of view, Italy it's very small. We have a lack of we have a few companies that very big and very strong. They do a lot of beautiful things. Think about the company like Leonardo and or Almaviva that are very really giants in the IT industries, very well known even abroad. They work. For example, Leonardo is selling their products all around the world for navy and for aviation and so on. On the other side, we have a lot of young people that are thinking about and inventing things and playing with new technology. And then the key point is to go from the idea to something that is up and running. The acceleration programs available here in Italy are, we were lucky because we were engaged in the acceleration program that was made by Lazio Innova. That's, let's say, a public accelerator. So we were lucky. They started with 20, then they reduced the number to 10 startup. At the end of the story, a minimum of 6 will go through the acceleration program. So we are fighting with using friendly fighting with other 9 startup to reach the goal. But we were lucky. I don't know really. The investors are strange. I have done some interview with some investor, and they were asking at the beginning, yes, but yeah, your idea is great, it works. Yeah, you are on the road to get to receive patent, to claim for patent. Yes, but what about your revenue? Yes, but if you ask a revenue, revenue and the startup are two words that shouldn't stay in the same phrase. Do you agree with me?
Sure.
A young startup cannot have any revenue, or at least the revenue cannot be an evaluation parameter. The most important evaluation parameter should be first the team, second the idea, third the commitment to reach the goal, and then we can talk of the other things connected. Because the team is important, because the team must be to me most useful team is made by some expert, young, of course, a lot of young guys, because they have the monkey on the back, and the monkeys to say them learn another thing, study, do this, do that. But the expert guy, the seasoned the guy from the technical point of view and from the business point of view must set up the piece. Because the most important thing is to go to get to reach something that's showable to prospect, to say, look what I'm doing, and please tell me what you think in the shortest time. That's the key point, to get to the market for testing as soon as possible, even with the 30% capability product. You don't need to have
Yeah, that
100%
minimum
the minimum
that,
value
that
product.
minimum viable product. Yeah.
Yeah, the minimum valuable product. Yeah, the MVP concept is the most important concept for a startup. And I think that some startups are failing on this here in Italy. But I think also
It's
I
interesting.
think around. I don't think it's an Italian problem only.
Yeah, one of the frameworks I use to kind of think through how startup is doing is just where are the elements of risk. And so if the idea is all about pure execution, right? So it's like the technology is off the shelf, but you're just trying to execute really well. In that model, the best way to de-risk and show an investor or somebody that you're lowering the risk is revenue. But in a world where the technology itself is the hardest part, and you mentioned the patents, that shows the team and intellectual property like patents as a different way of de-risking. And so I think it depends on, for a given startup, which is more important. Clearly for your company, it's more important, the technology and the team's ability to build and execute the technology. But I definitely see a lot of startups where the biggest risk is just, can they do it? Will somebody pay, even though it's like a simple piece of technology? In those cases, I think revenue, even early on, is pretty valuable.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Definitely.
Fantastic. And just here, as we finish up, I've really enjoyed our conversation, Cosmo. Is there anything that I should have asked you about but did not?
No, I think that we cover almost all the things related with Soonapse and with Pluvium. I can tell you something about the team. The team is made by 4 friends.
Please.
The core team was made 2 guys that were already founded companies. This is my second founder experience, because I already founded the company in 2004. This company is still alive, is a software house. Another guy, he also founded another company prior than 2003, and so seasoned guy, as I told you before. And the other one was the master of the idea and the master of let's say, the engine of Soonapse. That's Marco Ciarletti, that was supposed to be here, and he couldn't. He had also experience as a consultant for a lot of company, but he was let's say, the engine of the idea, and he convinced us to put money, but not only money. Money means something that's called by real money, of course, but also a lot of night spent thinking about the DSS. When he started to talk about DSS, they say, wow, DSS is something that was used in the 90s. And so it was tough to him convince us
Sure.
to invest in this idea. But at the end of the story, that's it. Then we had data scientist. Well, me too, I am a data scientist because I have a PhD in statistics from the university, but I always worked as a marketing guy, so never applied as a data scientist. But we have a lot of data scientists in the team. We have agronomists, and the average age of the people that are doing the job, developing software and cutting and sewing software, there's let's say 24 years old, the average age. So mixed team, and we are having fun also.
And that's always the most important piece, because there's so many ups and downs.
This is a key point, to have some fun also.
Absolutely, because of all those ups and downs, having that sense of humor makes all the difference. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate your time, Cosmo.
Thank you very much, James. Thanks for the time you gave me, and hope everything will be okay for you and the family, and for the next holidays and for the new year. And everybody is hoping that 2021 will be much, much better. That's ugly here that we are going to left in our backs.
100%. I could definitely agree with that.